Yeah. Man, he's doing it 2 times in 1 week. I must be on a vacation or something. Welcome to Truth Be Told, Ep.5, the presidential debacle, because that's what it was, in my opinion. So, first of all, let me just start out by preface this with the statement, I hate politics. I don't really like to talk about it, but it's not about the politics. It's more so about the process, you know, because I had the esteemed honor of posting this morning. Let me find some music too. This morning, posting on another social media website. And I posted what I'm about to tell you today about this debacle from last night. And believe it, man, the people came out the woodwork. They wanted blood. They wanted blood because for some reason, I clearly stated in my post that I'm not voting for either of these two people. I got, pretty much berated by family members from cousins to godkids on down and up because we are so emotionally charged over this event. I'm going to tell you, and I've said this before, people, don't let anybody play on your emotions. The whole thing with social media and everything that's structured around it is set up for those individuals to play on your emotions. That's how they get you riled up, through these ads. I've always said, I don't care what you look like, what color you are. I don't care how much money you got or where you're from. I'm more so interested in what your policies are. Welcome, Dr. Nikki. I'm more so interested in what your policies are. How are you being in charge going to change my life for the better, or us as American citizens for the better? So you'll never catch me with the black thing. As a matter of fact, I find that quite offensive. I'm going to talk about that too. You're not going to catch me with the man versus woman thing or what have you. I'm listening to what you're saying. And I watched this piece last night and was completely off-put by the way that it unfolded. So with no further ado, let's talk about it. So look, right away, I noticed something in the first 15 minutes. I said, man, these moderators seem biased. They seem slanted, to one side. But then I said, well, let me see how it's going. Let me wait and see how this thing unfolds. But lo and behold, I kept waiting, and it all seemed to be, it was just one direction. Now I talked about this, like I said, on my other social media, and of course the people came out the woodwork. I wish I could pull the post up and read it to you. But anyway, not important. I'm talking about it here. I've had, people who clearly didn't read my post and they just wanted to react. People who wanted to tell me how bad Donald was and such. And whereas my post had nothing to do with that, because I don't have a dog in the fight. My personal opinion, I feel that most of these people in government are a bunch of millionaire elites, and they just all thirsty for power. It has nothing to do with you and I except for voting time, which is why in my community, these people will suddenly show up at big churches, and they'll suddenly show up at, and start talking this yin yang with these black scents and such, which I find to be very offensive. You understand? I don't need you to tap dance. I need you to tap dance your ass in there and get some things done. I mentioned about immigration, should have been at the forefront of this thing. I had someone tell me in a post, one of my dearest and nearest offspring told me in a post that, oh, well, the only people that care about immigration are those who are not affected by abortion rights. I didn't understand why, if I say I'm for something, i.e., excuse me, I'm for the discussion about immigration, why does it automatically mean I'm against something else, or I'm suddenly put into a group of? See, here's the thing, y'all. Everything is not a damn debate. Again, I talked about this. People have the right to their opinion. If your neighbor wants to put out a Trump 2024 sign in his front yard, damn it, that's what American freedom is about. You know, if you want to protest and make a sign and go protest, you have your First Amendment rights. That is the beauty of living in this place, right? So I'm not with all the politics and who's going to do what and all this other stuff. I mean, I am for the who's going to do what. I mean, I'm not for who the individual is. All right. I'm interested in the facts. And speaking of facts, the fact checkers were asleep on one side of the podium. Literally. I watched the man, and that's what I'm going to refer to him as now, and it's going to be the man and the woman, because you know who was there. The man was fact checked 5 times during this debate. The woman was fact checked 0. Why? Now let's rewind, because the previous debate between when it was man versus man, that debate went okay. It was moderated, right? It went pretty smooth. It was a disaster for one side, but it went pretty smooth, which is why we got this other candidate shoved in our face. No group at the DNC. Nobody got to put their ring in the hat or hat in the ring or anything like that. It's just, this is what you're getting, which is why I say, I'm not a big fan of that either. It feels like almost like we don't have choices anymore. I'm not going to go into that. So anyway, there was some items mentioned up in relation to Charlottesville. That was coming from the woman. That was debunked already. Was not fact checked. Bloodbath comment, that was debunked. And also the fact referring to that was in fact referring to the economy, right? That comment was debunked. IVF is not being denied. Also, another fact that just seemed a misfact that slipped by. And Project 25 was mentioned several times as though it was some policy document signed off by the man, which it is not. Now, here's my issue, people. I'm not wrapped up into this politically. I'm pissed off about how if we like somebody, and by the way, I talked about this before. If you like somebody, you can just overlook and forgive everything and pretend it doesn't exist. If you don't like somebody, then of course, everything sticks. Now, we talked about BlackTube and how that seems to be the theme here. It's also the theme in front of the whole world at the highest levels of government, as I witnessed yesterday. See, I didn't sit down with I don't like this person or I don't like that person. I came in open-minded saying, matter of fact, man, my mouth was watering. I said, I can't wait to sit down and hear this debate. I really want to see what are the policies. Let's get these hard questions out here. Let's talk about how Americans are struggling and I'm going to walk away with so much information. I know what I'm going to do in November. Well, guess what? I'm still sitting here and I still don't know what I'm going to do. I do know this. I'll probably be writing in some names in a lot of spaces because honestly, I'm not really hearing anything. So I didn't come in emotionally biased. I never went in for the fact that getting a candidate out of office is a policy. It's not. Or preventing a candidate from getting in office. I don't care about that. I want to know, what are you going to do? Right away, the thing started, the show began, and the mudslinging right away. So I've heard all the rehearsed lines. It sounded like I was watching a movie replay or commercial, and he did some of that too, but it was just a lot of like repeats. Again, a lot of things that just went on that weren't debunked. There were rules that weren't followed. Now, of course, right away, I was suspicious because the woman wanted a hot mic, right? And wanted notes and all these other things. And they were just like, no. You're going to have to come out here on your own merit. And of course, because of that, now you're forced to keep talking about your family and when I was a child. And anyway, so there were cold mics. But did that stop the rules from being broken? No. Soon as the comment about the defund the police topic came up, the man was interrupted, right? The mic was cold, And he said, hey, basically you're talking over me. Does that sound familiar? And that's what a lot of you do here. That's funny. You're talking over me. Sound familiar? It did to me. And the moderators just allowed it to go on. How do you do that? Why not? Hey, you'll get your turn. Shut the hell up. You know what I mean? And to me, that shows a lack of control. And there were so many things. I'm not here. I don't want to sound like I'm attacking one side or the other. These are just the facts as I saw them, and as they unfolded. And this is what I witnessed. Now, of course, this is what you'll get, right? Because it sounds like I'm leaning on the woman, like, oh, he's talking about the things she's doing, and and it's going to automatically within your soul, it's going to make you want to retaliate and trash the other candidate. Again, I want to talk about the debate. I want to talk about the rules. I want to talk about what happened. If you can't show me 5 times that lady was fact checked. Show me where it appeared to be non-biased. Yeah, and there were several questions that weren't answered from her. I didn't even bother listing those because, again, politicians avoid questions all the time. They both did it, but that's what we do. Why can't we double down? Matter of fact, I didn't hear any of the moderators double down and go, hey, you never answered that question. By the way, he missed a step too, because he simply should have said, hey, you missed that question. You never answered that. We want to know, what is your economic plan? We want to know how are you going to fix these mistakes, these problems you caused for the last few years. Again, back to the debate. So there were avoided answers, no pushback. Immigration was sidestepped as a prominent issue, So what can you say? I mean, it's what we expect. I always wondered that. Why is it that when you go to go to court, you get asked a question in court. Welcome, YM and D. Darrell. You get asked a question in court, and you have to answer that question. You got to swear on the Bible. You can't do that stuff. You can't do that stuff politicians do in court, and you can't do that stuff like when you're on a platform and you get asked on BlackTube and you get asked a direct question and you start throwing whataboutisms and buck dancing. You can't do that in court. I don't know why we allow people in the highest levels of government to be able to do that. Not answer questions, period. And again, so it is what it is. That's what politicians do. At the end of the day, what I would have liked to see more, let's talk about past records. I think they would have done good reflecting more on that. I don't know about you. People tend to vote with their stomachs. And right now, I have to give up one date night per month because these prices are so damn high. You can't even go to, if you happen to say, you know what, I just want to take a day off and go to get some fast food. You hit KFC up for 2 people, you damn near, you're practically at $30. See, these are things that I find important. Gas prices, inflation, the economy as a whole, right? I would have loved to hear more about that. And right now, you can't explain that away. That's what it is. I stated before, I'm not a fan of politics at all. Here's my question. How do we get to a point where we are forced to choose the lesser of 2 evils? I've always said, can anybody write or find other intelligent people? You mean to tell me on both sides, right? We only have these 2 that were basically shoved down our throats. There aren't any scholars, lawyers, court judges, lesser politicians, teachers, firemen, anybody that can step up and say, hey, I want this office. But see, like I told y'all, that's the veil that they're hiding behind. It's all about power. It's all about staying in power. It's a game of chess. We have to make a move to keep us in power because we're all getting enriched. You never hear anything about congressional term limits. Why does somebody need to be a congressman for 50 years? Really, though? Honestly, the longer you're in there, the more susceptible to corruption that you are. Because simply put, and I've never understood this. Some of you political geniuses maybe can explain it to me. How is it that you can lobby a congressman? How is it that you can fund a corporation, can put millions into somebody's campaign, and somehow I expect like my vote is going to count when the corporation clearly is funding you, which means you're going to lean towards pushing their policies. And if you can stay in there forever, then you can just keep accepting money, grants. All these people go in there, they could go in broke with no apartment. They all come out multimillionaires. That right there is a critical issue and a problem for me. So when you have people that simply want to be in power for no other reason but to be in power, they become the 1% elite. It's not really fair. We're the only goofies out here that are arguing over, what color somebody's hair is, skin is, the lesser of two evils, and going back and forth. While you and I, taxes are up, inflation is coming down, but notice the prices are still up. I can do a whole live about that, the whole economy piece, why that is. Not getting into that today. I want to talk about that damn debacle last night and choosing between two evils. Wow, that's where we're at. It used to be a time when I would turn on the TV and the stage would be full of people on both sides, several podiums going at each other, tooth and nail, to prove why they're the better candidate. But here we are. We have to keep him out of there because, I did love the piece where another thing got thrown out. Oh, the Central Park 5, blah, 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 blah. You're a racist, blah, 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 blah. Yo, check it out. I got news flash for y'all. Most of your presidents were racist. Racist or not celebrating that. You got to run the country. And it does make a point. There was an ad placed in the paper after the fact, after a confession was given. See, you got a lot of race mongers here on YouTube. They'll go, and this guy said something racist, and you never get the whole story. Honestly. Now, if that was reversed, right? If something happened to a black woman and she was assaulted and somebody confessed about it, how would you feel? You would be like, oh man, I want blood. Look, I'm not here to excuse that. I made that point to simply say it's not important right now. And you should always gather all the facts, period. Right? That has nothing to do with now. I want to know, bro, what can you do? Can we get this stock market cranked back up? Can we get the economy juice back up? Can we slow the border down? God damn it. Yo, I ain't going to get all into policy. I'm starting to drift off, and I just said I don't want to talk about politics. Back to the debate. We talked about what I did like, though, as far as the race piece. He did come right out the gate talking about overrun cities with immigration, how it's affecting blacks more than anyone. We did come up in a discussion, but we're going to ignore that, right? I don't hear a peep from the other side. But back to the debate. See, it's hard to talk about that without going into policies. But again, y'all don't care anyway. It doesn't matter. Person got they got some melanin, and it's just like, oh, I don't need to hear anything else. I'm just going to run out and vote because he got some melanin. Well, we did that bullshit. And 8 years, what happened? We got nothing. All right, stop acting like kids. We're not here. Oh, you look like me. That's all you need. Come on now. That's why ain't shit going on. That's why we are in the confusion we're in now. Voting. Like I said, my godchild said, well, you said you aren't going to vote anyway, so why do you care? That was the comment. And I said, I'm not voting for either one. I never said I wasn't going to vote, right? Never said that. I said, you didn't read. And that's what we do. So we see something and you read to respond. You listen to respond. You don't listen to listen. I'm not on here promoting either one. What's happening is you're hearing me state some facts. And as you're hearing these facts, it sounds like I'm leaning one way because all the facts are pointing in a certain direction. Like I said, again, it doesn't matter, man. I call a spade a spade, But anyway, I will probably write in. I'm going to write in some names, period. I'm going to look at y'all comments in a second. I'm going to write in some names. They're going to play on you. They're going to tell you a person is black. You got to hit the polls. They're going to tell you that your ancestors died for you and you got to go vote because they died and all this. No. A lot of my ancestors died to obtain the right to vote. They didn't die to obtain the right to say that the rest of us have to vote for all time or vote for people we don't like or vote for people who aren't giving a goddamn about us. No, you also, not only along with the right to vote comes with the right to not vote. I'm pretty sure if there was somebody running in an election on both sides and it seemed like it was against all of their interests, they probably would have either said it out or wrote in a ballot. Mickey Mouse or Donald Duck or something on there, right? Segue real quick. Comments, because y'all like, we got some chatter going on here. So, both Trump and Harris evaded questions. I did say that, actually. I did say that. And there was speaking out of turn. Speaking out of turn, what I did notice, I mean, there was speaking out of turn, but there were corrections. When it came to the defunding the police, it was like there was no stopping. They're like, come on, you're going on for an extra 30 seconds. You're on a cold mic yelling across the room. Date night. See me in Photon Live when you said you're single. Funny. When I said listen and not listen to respond, to talk about that person, he didn't listen. If you stop trying to stop reviewing somebody's content and stopping it every 5 seconds and then doing straw man trolling and punch, I'm gonna talk about that later, by the way. Punching in phrases and the straw man trolling, you're not listening, and that clearly was completely missed. But anyway, it's fun though. But we're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about BlackTube. I ain't finished beating their asses. Spicy Kai, hey, Kai's in the house. That's my home girl from over on Rosecrans. Yeah, when I got out the joint, I just stay over there on the couch, till my for my probation. Anyway, corporations are people. That's why. Yeah, they are. Sure. Yup. Derek stopped through. Dr. Palmer, listen to you live on There Too from Philadelphia. Derek's up there in Philly, y'all. He's always walking through with this open container of liquor and a cigar on mass transit or driving. You'll probably see him swerving. Case study is sleeping your way to the top. No doubt. See, and look, I ain't even gonna pick on the quote unquote sister. I ain't gonna do that. I'm gonna let people look. Let me tell you, but I will say this though. I will say this, y'all. If y'all did follow me to the voting booth and held me at gunpoint and said, you better pull one of them damn levers, I'm gonna blow your head off, it probably wouldn't be Shorty. And the reason why, anytime you came out your mouth and told me I ain't doing shit specifically for you, told you to your face, what the hell? What do I look like? And then on top of that, you still ain't telling me nothing? I want to hear. And when somebody asks you the question, what about my check? What about my closing this wealth gap thingy? And you say, oh, we're going to do a study. That same bullshit. You ain't got to study for Ukraine. You ain't got to study to send money over to that country. I can't say because my whole channel gets shut down. You ain't have to do a study for that. You ain't have to do a study for giving people thousands of dollars in food stamp, housing, access to transportation, and just illegally coming into the country and running. You know what? Anyway, I digress. Moving right along. But when it comes to y'all, it's always a study. Every other group that got reparations or the help, there was never no study. From the Native Americans to the Japanese to post German Holocaust victims, never. But with you, it's a study. Oh, by the way, get your black ass out and make sure you push my name in. Imagine it stealing a duck or pet and eating it. Yo, there's a video of a woman that was eating the neighbor's cat. She might have been a little off, but there have been reports of the folks taking the Canadian geese and snapping their necks in the park and such out in Springfield, Ohio. Again, these are different cultures. And Canadian geese are a protected species. If I did that, that's like a $25,000 fine. But that's neither here nor there. It's just there's a lot of problems with that particular topic. But I noticed they didn't really, If that was a real fair debate, they would have hit that lady with the hard question. Hey, explain this. Explain why you ain't never been down to the border. Explain how this is your baby and it's gone haywire. But again, like I said, the debate was slanted. You know, and I don't care which one of them. You should hit both of them with the hard questions, straight up. I'm getting flashbacks to when I used to get annoyed with you. Girl, you know you ain't annoyed with me. You know it was from day one. I don't know what that means. But anyway, check this out. No, you harped on Kamala Harris doing it. You didn't say they both were. No, that hers stuck out the most. All right. I'm going to read the comments, y'all, but I can't keep going back to redress. It stuck out the most. People do that all the time. Hot or cold, Mike, no doubt. But yo, when it happens, you can't run on for one whole minute of just keep going. It's like, yo, shut it down. Come on now. You know you're breaking the rules. Somebody step in, do something. You know, my dog is voting for Trump. He's afraid for his safety. People eating pets out here. Yeah, and I'm going to tell you something. That was, he could have hit on any topic in relation to immigration, and I really think he should have left that alone. That sounded such like a conspiracy. It's very limited in scope. He kind of, he missed a step with that. I think he got a little flustered, and he missed a step with that. You don't want to make yourself look goofy. If you want to tell a lie, make it a good one, all right? People still ignore independent candidates. There are 3 in the election. One is also black. No doubt about it. Dr. Cornel West is running in that category. That's usually how I vote, y'all, by the way. They are being ignored on purpose. Other times the independents are leaps and bounds. You know what? And that makes my point. There are other people. When I said there are scholars and things like that, I more so meant, aren't there Democratic and Republican scholars and people who are smart? Usually these independents or progressives are usually of that, you know, caliber, but they don't get, we're somehow focused on 2 parties. Nobody cared, right? I learned that back, and we should have voted for Ross Perot. You know what? I said the same thing, and I talked about that. Yo, that man should have been in charge. You know why? Who else took their own money, right, and paid for a 30-minute infomercial to teach Americans how to be better with money, how to invest, and how to be more, you know, instead of he's saying, look, don't just sit around waiting for the government or somebody to do something. You have to take charge. And he was an oil man explaining how economics work and how you can do it on a personal level and larger scales. I really thought, and because we always, no, for real, we always talk about businessman and Trump was a businessman. And trust me, my veteran buddies on the other side, they always say that he's a businessman, so he'll be good for the, no, he's not a good businessman. So Ross Perot was a good businessman. John D. Rockefeller, good businessman. So yes, if you're looking for, now they aren't economists, but being a good businessman doesn't make you an economist. I'd rather have a good economist, but being a good businessman does give you some insight. You're tied into corporations. You understand how they work. See, the man last night kept talking about placing these tariffs on, and we're going to place the tariffs, and they're robbing us for money, and they replace these tariffs. Yo, that's called protectionism. Historically, that does not work. Somebody mentioned, well, it's going to drive up prices for consumers. Yeah, but that's not the biggest piece. It usually doesn't work, right? That whole thing, you just probably will end up with a shortage of goods. It's most likely what'll happen, or things will be on the black market. You know what I'm saying? And of course, here's Speakeasy. I'm voting for Ross. I thought it said Rosie Perez. I need my glasses. If you would have wrote Rosie Perez, that would have been really funny. But see, I'm light years ahead of you with the humor. So anyway, it's just that when you, like I said before, when you post the factual data, people are going to argue because they are emotional, right? Because think about it. If you start getting loud, unfriending people on Facebook and all of that, you know, it's you're very emotional. If somebody can have an opinion that's opposing yours, And that should be cool. And you offer your opinion. At the end of the day, you only got one vote each. So go do what you think is right. Just an FYI, according to the polls last night, the swing voters, those people that they actually were talking to last night, didn't move the needle either way. Didn't move it. That's why I said, when I say terrible debate, I don't mean so much like, oh, well, the woman did wrong or the man did wrong. When I say terrible debate, also, sure, the rules were bent, slanted, and all of that, but that also hurt both sides because the swing voters, we didn't get to the meat of it. The moderators are supposed to dig down, get to the meat, bring it to the forefront so that whoever has the best argument can grab that voter base that's hanging out there in the breeze. And that didn't happen last night. There wasn't a winner or a loser. It was just a effed up ass debate, period. So I didn't get anything out of it. I would have, man, I'm telling you, like I said before, I would have loved to have gotten up and said, damn it, somebody got my vote, because it was so compelling. It was not. It was not. I do know the man, he's been practicing. I can tell. That coaching is working. And that's a difference between now and 6 years ago, whatever that was. Definitely, man. He was prepared in a way, but the woman rattled him. She trolled him. She got to him. She got under his skin. He don't know how to turn it off. If he could turn it off, keep his cool, he wouldn't be half bad. As far as a debate goes, I ain't talking about leadership. So we tied yet of this. All right. So anyway, right, man, speaking of that, somebody mentioned earlier, they was talking about something. Somebody was reviewing my content, which, by the way, hey, check this out. If you review somebody's content, man, drop the link. You know, paste the link to the person, to the source. And besides, I'm one small person with hardly no listeners. Like, what do you get out of that? I put up a presentation. By the way, I am on the channel, Dr. Bombay. This channel was my original channel. It's across multiple neighborhoods on Black YouTube. I started this in the Black sector, conscious sector. I don't know why they call it that. Nothing's conscious about it. It goes through a myriad of sectors, and when the content is being reviewed, of course, the individual try to slant it to make it seem like it's talking about a group of about 15 people that nobody cares about on a grand scale. So yeah, if you're gonna twist the words and bend it and all of that, at least drop the link to the damn channel. Don't make me strike your ass. You know what I mean? So look, be fair about it. You know, and speaking of that, like I said, so we got BlackTube, man. And there are a lot of things going on in the world, but we keep our heads in the sand. We find more value in arguing online, beefing, and bullshit, and no concern for the issues that are affecting our world. When the economy is bad, you do realize that's why your cash apps is drying up. That's why you ain't getting none. Because things are slowing down. People, if I got to spend $30 at KFC, you do realize your ass ain't getting no cash app from me, right? You do realize that. It's not going to happen. Nah, I got that. Nah, I got that. Nah, I got that. Nah, I got that. Not going to do it. So I would suggest you better shift your content to what people, the real issues and what things want to talk about. And we talked about reviewing content and stuff like that. And of course, you guys say you're trolling. But sometimes the lines get blurred. I can't tell when you're trolling and when you're not trolling. It's almost like, you know how I feel. I think a lot of you guys that troll, you're hiding your real feelings. You seem emotional. I told you, we on here on BlackTube, you got trolls that cry tears and scream and yell and go off the deep end and all that other stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah, you the only one. Oh, caught the SNL. Right? You know what? I know we related. Yolanda, I know we family. We're going to talk about that later. Call me. But anyway, it's like, again, and yeah, we can definitely clown and have a good time. I love that. And if I post facts like the ones previously mentioned, I do get attacked because, again, we all are more interested in voting because of color, swag, and for anybody that can do the Cupid shuffle or pull up or pull out, should I say, some hot sauce out of their purse. And here they go, going to the mega churches in your neighborhood. And then they want to drag out the reparations piece. Only at election time, though. But at least one thing, I give the sister some, I give her clout, though, because she told me you ain't getting shit. I ain't doing shit. That's the end of the story. Told me right to my face. What could I do? At least she was honest. You ain't getting a goddamn thing. Now kick rocks and get out there and vote for me because I'm light-skinned. And there we go. On Obama's second term, he can't do nothing right now because they in his way. But on the second term, he gonna come through for us. He gonna come through. You're gonna see. He can't do nothing right now, but when he a lame duck, he gonna let it loose. How'd that work out? There you go. And by the way, he was a damn good president for everybody else. LGB got theirs, women got theirs, immigrants got theirs for the good ones. And then he did, I ain't gonna lie, he threw more people out of the country than Trump did. You know what I mean? But hey, and there's some drones and stuff going on. Barry wasn't playing with his bombs, man. He was blowing at y'all asses up. That's why I like to look. I look at it and laugh, y'all. I really do. I have friends on both sides of the aisle, and we have conversations. And it's like, especially my veteran buddies, y'all always hear me talk about them. They running around here. They big time MAGA boys, and they always talking about making it great, making it great. I say, good, let's make it great. So I looked at them. I said, brothers, we're going to make it great. Okay, tell me this one. Make it this. Make it so I can be a dad, with a single paycheck, right? With a housewife and 3 kids, and I can pay for everything, right? Go on vacation once a year, have a car in a garage, and a pension in 20 years. Where I can start a whole nother career, get another pension and Social Security, and live my life in prosperity to the day I die. When we can get it back to that, brothers, and whoever can make that happen, they will damn sure get my vote. But miss me with all this rhetoric. And every time I say that, they can't do nothing but agree. See, they're very polarized when it comes to I ain't gonna lie. My white homeboys are on what y'all call on code. They're in lockstep. They will not waver. They will not appear to not be behind their candidate to the end. They will not be. Okay, see, Yolanda. They will not be to the end. Okay. And they stay on code, even if it's to their own detriment. I personally don't think you should do that. I personally don't think you should get behind somebody because they're black and just keep supporting them no matter what, or vote blue no matter who, or any of this other stuff. Look around your neighborhood. Look at your personal situation. Man, see the world for what it is. You know what I mean? Because all we got is us in the end. But I always hit them with that. I say, man, how we going to get it? And they always want to talk about, we had a real good economy. The last time the man was in, we had a real good economy. And I said, wow, man, the Ford plant closed up, moved clean to Mexico. Carrier, the HVAC people shut down. Harley Davidson went to Europe. I mean, yo, man, come on, man. We can't even, and I ain't gonna lie. If I was them folks and some man came along talking about he gonna put us back in power, he gonna put us back on top where we belong as the majority, shit, I'd probably be listening to him and rallying for him too, because I'm thinking I'm getting my power back. But see, that's the whole idea. Power is an illusion. See, you got 1% elites, and then you got everybody else. And by the way, if you ain't in that 1%, you're everybody else. It's them and you, right? And you do have some gatekeepers, some bootlicks, the boule. You got these people that are in between to keep you in line. They're more like overseers. There's a lot of black news outlets that fall into that category. I ain't gonna mention them here, but they're out there. I keep looking. I tell the fellas, I say, let's look around. Let's see what we got going. What's happening in our neighborhoods? What's happening with these jobs? You know what I'm saying? Man, I tell you, I miss being young and not knowing any of this. And I dropped the link for anybody that wants to come through and share your thoughts, because I think I think I pretty much got it all out. You can't say too much about the debate. And again, it's misconstrued. He's talking about the candidates. And yeah. So anyway, if I do say something that appears to be a misfact, or maybe, like, for instance, if I said the moderators didn't interject, but then they did on the other side too, and that's how it's coming off, hey, that's fine. But my point is that if they let it slide, even on both sides, it still makes it messed up. It should have been moderated. That was, and you, I ain't gonna lie, there was a lot of running on. They said the time, and the person just still, come on now. I'm not interested in the personal stuff and the nitpicking, you know. But anyway, yeah, I just wanted to come on and talk about that. I talk about social media a lot. I do know this, though. I've kind of been limiting myself as far as how I engage in it, because not only is it a distraction, doesn't have a lot of value on most of the time, and it can take up a ton of time in your day, right? All right, so check this out. I got the homie, the Stromy. He finally made it through to a show, y'all, even though he been in the chat for like 3 times. I get where I ain't on his panel, so now he was paying me back for 2 shows. I know what you was doing. It's okay, you being petty. But what's up, brother?
How you doing, brother? How you doing, man?
I'm good. I'm just on here running my mouth with my paid stream, y'all.
You threw me off on this one because I wasn't expecting you to go live so early. But I do like the fact that you decided to give a response to the debate yesterday, in which I, and the rest of the country was watching. One of the things that I would like to speak on in regards to this was not necessarily the debate itself, but the analysis after the debate was over with from the networks. That to me was telling. I'm one, particularly when it comes to politics. I have always participated in reviewing a variety of different perspectives. CNN, MSNBC, the national networks that usually do their after the debate analysis, Fox News, of course, et cetera, et cetera. And it was stunning to see the contrast. When you compare and contrast everybody's perspective on the debate. Looking at the debate in itself, I do think she won the debate. I think that Trump basically was being Trump, which was, basically blowing stuff up everybody a-hole, and, with the theatrics and the offensive language and no policy, just this is bad, that is bad, I'm going to do better. Basically offending people, and it was all entertainment. He was entertaining, but he had no substance. And when it comes to Kamala Harris, she did, in my opinion, bring some substance, but not enough. Not enough. I'm not impressed, but I do think she definitely debated better than he did, and she provided some policy as it involves what she will do when she's in office. So she didn't do a great job. She did a good job, a good enough job compared to who she was debating against. But I'm not impressed. But I do think that she's the better selection. This is my opinion based on that. You look at Fox News. Fox News was focusing on the fact that they thought that the mediator of the debate was a bit impartial on the questions to Donald Trump. Then I saw people saying that he was interrupting her a lot, and they were telling her to shush, but they let him talk. When she interrupted, just let him, move, from other networks. And then you look at MSNBC. They swear to God she's the second coming, and she hit a home run, and I'm like, no, she did not hit a home run. She debated against an idiot. That's what that was. It had nothing to do with her hitting a home run. a lot of what she said was not of substance. It's kind of party line type of issues. Um, you know, she did speak on some policy. To me, the main topic that should have been discussed is the economy and bringing down inflation,
Yeah.
and that should have been the biggest debate topic, and that was not. We want to focus on, you know, the immigrants, which is a problem. But I'm gonna be honest, I'm not concerned about immigrants. I'm not. I'm really not, because at the end of the day, based on the United States immigration policy, regardless if you're a citizen or not, they have the right, and it is constitution. It is constitution. It has been constitutional, and they have done this. If immigrants, whether you're citizens or not born of this country, they can send your ass back, and that's a fact.
Yeah.
They can send you back, and that is law. They have the right. If you're not born here, whether you become an American citizen or not, and I'm gonna say this, and unfortunately, a dark side of our history. When
You went out, bro. It cut you off. Last thing we heard you say was dark side of our history, and then it cut out. There you go.
Hello?
There you
Can you
go.
hear
You
me?
back. Yep, now I can hear you. You said dark side of our history, and then it cut you off. All right. So that was D. Durrell. I imagine he had a bit of some technical dip. Oh, hey, wait a minute. D. Durrell is back. There you
Can
go,
you hear
bro.
me?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay, sorry about that. What I was trying to say was, for the Japanese, they put them in concentration camps and different things. A lot of those people were American citizens that were of Japanese descent and are immigrated here. They can control immigration is not hard to control. I don't care about these people coming. Yeah, I know it's draining the system, but I don't want to hear about Trump talking about these people coming here, don't know what country they're in, and they're coming here to vote against him. And that to me, that's not politics. You know what I'm saying? That's not politics at all. You're just placating to scaring and fear mongering the country. You
Yeah.
know, immigrants have always come here in huge numbers. This country was built on illegal immigration. You know, that was a group of people from West Africa that came here through illegal immigration. And it was in slavery for over 200 plus years. That's illegal immigration.
Yeah,
Did
forced
we want to forget
immigration.
about that? You know, that's called illegal immigration. And that was orchestrated by corporations and businesses. That was illegal immigration. Then you had immigration in Europe. You know, they allowed all these people to come and open the border. And not the latest one, but in the 80s and 90s, they opened the borders for the Hispanic communities to come here and work for less than minimum wage. And then now you have a situation where if any group of people that are involved in any type of war, strife, or issue going on in their home country, they're opening the doors to Ethiopians. They open up the door to Somalians, Arabic people, Afghans, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that's the new style immigration right now. People coming in from all these different Latin countries, coming here for political refuge, um, and they're allowed to come here. So I'm not concerned. That's not the problem. That's not it is costing state and local governments. Um, but again, as you stated, when we had COVID and all these other different things, they're pulling billions and billions of dollars to fund the Ukraine out of nowhere with no problem. A war that we're not even involved in, has nothing to do with us, but we're spending tons of money. And so the issue to me is that we cannot sustain ourselves. We cannot maintain infrastructure. I'm not concerned about the LGBT rights and all that other stuff that they were talking about. I'm looking at how can we sustain ourselves for the next 100 years. And if you continue to spend money on all these crazy things that don't really have a huge effect on us, as far as American citizens, the economy, infrastructure, standard of living, your dollar will continue to decline, and that what causes inflation. You need more dollars to buy things because the dollar you got is not of value. So if we're not talking about inflation, if we're not talking about maintaining infrastructure, uh, things of that sort, maintaining affordable health care, improving educational standards, healthcare standards, um, you know, if we're not talking about things that actually matter, providing opportunities, I'm gonna tell you one thing that she should have talked about that she didn't talk about, and that was the student loan forgiveness. To me, I would have repeated that. Every American of any um, economic group can relate to getting that if they were qualified for it. You didn't hear anything about the student loan forgiveness plan.
You mean on her side, she should have
Yes,
bragged about it, or
yes, she should
yeah,
have.
because he used
She
it as a
should have.
talking point against them. And by
Yes.
the way, they left me with an extra 10 grand when they wiped mine. So
Well,
so he
that's better
almost
than
had
that.
me.
That's better than nothing. But
Yeah.
she should have led with that. We've utilized billions of dollars, and we decreased the debt of 100 million Americans. See that's but she didn't do that. She was focused on, well, we're worried about the immigrants and the hardworking Americans, and we're trying to we're gonna tax the wealthy, and we're gonna do this across the we're gonna like all in and we're gonna do this, and I'm not Biden. We all know you're not Biden. We know Trump used Biden against you, but we all know that. Tell us something we don't know. But I definitely was not impressed with either one of them. Although I think that she was more presidential. Um, I have no intention of voting for Donald Trump at all. Never really did, but he continued to show himself. To me, his
Peace and love.
performance was
Peace and love.
almost his performance was almost as equivalent to Biden in June, where he basically looked out of touch and he didn't know where the hell he was at. I really think Donald Trump, although he may have physically looked better, but mentally they're on the same level.
He was sharp in answering a lot of the questions that he did answer. He did have some good comebacks. Let me ask you a question, because Conscious Energy just jumped up on the panel. When you said immigration is not your concern, both of you guys are from Texas. And I've heard Texans say, man, we don't care about no immigration. We've been dealing with that for 100 years. So now you're getting a dose of what we feel. Is that why you're not concerned? Because you guys kind of live with it already for your whole life, and it's not a big deal to you because of that? You're used to it?
I mean,
Well, if I could add some, oh, go ahead, brother.
Oh, go ahead.
What's going on? TMK Media, Dr. Bombay. What's going on, brother D. Darrell, the Godfather, man? Salute, Grand Rising.
What's going on?
What's up?
Well, I just wanted to, add my little 2 cents, man, on this whole kerfuffle with Donald Trump and Miss Harris. And I want to answer that question as far as you talking about immigration living in Texas. And D. Darrell probably gonna agree with what I have to say because he lives in Houston. We're not even 500 miles away from the border of Mexico, and to be honest, I'm not gonna say we used to it, but Houston, Texas has a large Hispanic immigrant community, along with Muslims and East Indians, but Houston is like a melting pot of different cultures. And down here in Houston, man, we have a lot of Mexican restaurants, Taco Cabana. There's food trucks all over the place, and so we're used to. So we're used to we're used to interacting with the Hispanic population, but what I think happened is that we got overwhelmed, and that's why we had our governor. And I love Governor Greg Abbott. I think probably one of the greatest governors Texas ever had. But when we got fed up, you know what he started to do? He started to bust the migrants to New York City, these alleged sanctuary cities. He bust them to Chicago. He bust them to Los Angeles, because they claim that they sanctuary cities. But, like I say, D. Darrell could vouch for what I'm saying, but we're so used to it. We're so used to interacting with the Hispanic population that, it really doesn't affect our day-to-day life. But I think when Greg Abbott started to bust the migrants to New York City and Chicago, they never had interaction with the Hispanic migrant population like we have it down here in Texas. And so now they're going through a kerfuffle. Now the mayors are crying, talking about they need help, they need funding for the immigrants. And so I'm going to mute my mic. Go ahead, brother.
Wow. Good insight. Appreciate that. I always wondered,
Yeah, that is true. We've been dealing with that. And so illegal immigration is just a part of the fabric of Texas politics. So it's ingrained into issues that people deal with, experience, and have an opinion on. Other states, not so much, particularly those that are not bordering states, or states that are in Texas, or those particularly like Florida, New York, basically Arizona, New Mexico, and particularly California. Certain states have more issues related to immigration than others, or particularly major big cities. But that to me is far more glaring issues from a federal level. When we're talking about inflation, when we're talking about the economy, when we're talking about, people's ability to earn a living, save on taxes or pay, taxes relative to what they earn. When we're talking about educational opportunities, that is more important. When we're talking about infrastructure, and you see, we don't realize that our country is actually eroding in front of our face, and we don't know it. And that is, to me, pretty consistent with all major civilizations or countries that were in power. They slowly erode within, and the people of the day never realize it until other people years later study it and realize these are the things that are happening. And so when you have roads that are not being taken care of, when we're talking about you having food deserts that shouldn't be, issues with water, cleanliness of water, things of that sort. Those are issues. Air quality, housing, relative, creating affordable housing. Those things, to me, are way more important that affects the life of the day-to-day American. I care less about an immigrant, even though that is an effect, and it does have an effect to people, affecting healthcare, affecting the educational system, because it will strain them as far as those departments from having to allocate money to accommodate these people. But there are far more glaring issues than that. I mean, again, you even stated this, under the Obama administration, they actually sent more people back than anybody. Contingency also talked about, as it relates to a particular Caribbean guy in our sector. We got ICE that can take these people and take them away.
Fake a change. Fake a change.
No.
I'm not.
Y'all tried to port the brother.
And you know some Godfather, if I can just add something, because you telling the truth. You making a lot of sense. I just want to add this little part about it, and because see, understand something, Dr. Bombay. Everybody isn't dealing with the immigration problem the way that Texas is. Understand something. Down at the Texas border, we talking about Brownsville, which I've been to a couple times. We have millions of people who have crossed, and it's true, Obama did deport a lot of illegal immigrants, but the hypocrisy that I think that's going on with the administration that's in power right now, they want to tell us that there's nothing going on, but the crime rate is through the roof. And the nobody talks about this, but Houston has the number one, well, not the number one, but a bad STD problem. And I think what happened is a lot of people came into the country that was sick and diseased, and they started to procreate and do adult things with our population here in Houston. And so now we have a large influx of STDs that is going around Houston and Texas. Where did it come from? Where did the boom come from? And then we got some people, Godfather, that say, well, we want the immigrants gone. This is why the immigrants will never leave and why they will always be a staple in American economy. Think about it. Who do you know want to go pick strawberries? Who do you know, Godfather, wants to go pick carrots, tomatoes, apples? I challenge you to find one American woman, white, black, Chinese. I challenge you to find one American born woman or man that wants to go pick strawberries, blueberries off the trees. The immigrants are coming in and getting these what we call low tier jobs. You know, when you go to McDonald's, you see a large Hispanic population, not because McDonald's can't hire American citizens. American citizens don't want to work for the small wage. In the minimum wage in Texas is $7.50. Cutting the grass. I mean, we have landscapers who come and cut the grass, but down in Texas also that's a large Hispanic population who cut the grass. So we have these low wage jobs that Americans just don't want to do. When you go down to the car wash, you'll see Sanchez and Julio washing the cars. You is not gonna catch an American-born woman out there washing somebody's car. It ain't gonna happen. You're gonna see them at the mall, at the Gucci store, at the Saint Laurent store. You're gonna see them at the Apple store, but you're not gonna see American-born people doing these low-wage jobs like picking fruits off the trees. So I think that's why the Hispanic population has came in and monopolized these low-wage jobs, because Americans simply do not want to do that kind of manual labor. What you think, Godfather? I'm gonna mute my mic.
I definitely agree. Particularly those who are illegal. And if we would compare their standard of living in their countries of origin.
Okay, all right. Hey, you take care, Godfather TMK Meter. Thanks for letting me talk, man. Y'all brothers have a good one.
Okay.
Peace.
Country of origin to where they are now, that they feel better off, engaging in these low paying jobs, below minimum wage or whatever, as opposed to living in a country with subpar conditions. They're not first world. So that's the dilemma that they have to experience, and they made the decision that they're better off for the longevity of their family to come here and risk themselves, their lives, their freedom, to work these jobs and make a better life so that their children can get free health care, free education. That's just that's what they can get here, that no other country is willing to give them. But this country, gives that to everybody. You are basically, if you want to call them entitlements, if you're a certain income, you're going to get free health care and free education.
Yeah, no doubt.
That's the difference.
he made it. He did make good points, and I don't know if a lot of people are aware when he's talking about strawberries. You know, if you want to pick strawberries for $1.30 an hour, we saw what happened in Florida when DeSantis decided to play that racial angle and crack down on all the immigrants,
Right.
illegal immigrants, and they all left the fields and stuff was rotting on the vine. They are an integral part of our economy, and the government knows this. That's why, to a certain degree, it's tolerated. It just looks now like the floodgates are open. You
Oh,
know,
definitely.
I don't think a lot of these people that are coming across are going to the fields. They're coming in and going right to reaping benefits of, you know, food stamp programs, housing, and such. And I think that's now why it's on the radar.
Right.
You also hit a very good point, talking about like basically the erosion or conclusion of an empire. And I think a lot of us are asleep to that fact. And usually, I mean, come on, you have what, four greater empires already come and gone: Rome, Greece, Babylon, name the other one, I don't know. But
Egypt.
yep. And it usually starts where there's corruption. Like when I was talking earlier about how this debate was slanted. And I said, yo, you could watch the Carter and debates back in 78 or whatever, and you didn't see the same. Well, of course, that's also before the fair, what is it called, Fair Reporting Act was taken away in 83, where news outlets had to report on both sides of the argument. That is clearly gone. But you know, right then and there, to me, that's the beginning of the end. If the media is allowed to be slanted, we all know Fox News leans one way, you know, and such. But there are signs of the beginning. Everything is just so corrupt. Now your politicians, they don't have to show any class, any decorum. They can just come out, say anything that's on their mind, curse. And I've heard both of them do that. You know,
Right.
the dropping F-bombs. I mean, it used to be these people had to be presidential at all times. That was the very least. And so, like, I see it as the beginning of the end. Either that or there's going to be a revolution from the citizens themselves, because they can only squeeze you but so much. And now, you know, we're losing a lot of rights. We're losing a lot of benefits. You know, jobs, industry, things that we used to have are just gone. You know, there was a time in the country, all of us had those uncles that worked in, it could be a factory, manufacturing, steel plant, steel mills, and they always driving a nice Lincoln or a Cadillac. They had money, benefits, pensions. I mean, those were the good jobs, and we need to get back to that. But definitely a lot of good points.
Right. So yeah, so that was my perspective. And again, you watch CNN, they were leaning towards her, and she did such a great job. And MSNBC thought she was the second coming of Christ. Fox News thought that Trump was treated unfairly, and he was, you know, not, you know, the questioning, and he didn't get a chance to say this, and the Democrats are the devil, and you know, it's like, you know, like, come on, like nobody's been, you know, nobody's being truthful.
Nope.
At all. Like everybody got their own perspectives, and I expected that type of response. So, with that being said, as a person who is an independent who has a tendency to vote more Democrat than Republican, but I do vote both. I wasn't impressed. I expected it to happen the way it did, and I actually think she's going to win. My prediction is she's going to barely win by probably 1 million votes or two, maybe less than 1 million votes, somewhere around 1.5 million votes. And, you know, I think that Trump will continue to implode in the next, you know, 2 months. And he's not going to recover from this. And also, when it comes to the young vote, that's kind of a vote that people they take for granted. Younger people who look at them, the younger people are not impressed with Trump. They're looking at him as this old 80-year-old man who's from past generations that did things a certain way. and they want new ideas and new ways of doing things, and they want someone that's willing to reflect the future. I think Kamala represents not a great deal, but more of that. And I do think that we will have a huge amount of people that will vote this year. I do think that will happen. And I think she's going to win by 1 million to 1.5 million votes. That's my prediction.
Wow. I kind of felt it would. My prediction was it would go the other way. It would be, or no. She would get the popular vote and he would get the electoral. The same thing that happened before.
Which can happen.
Because I don't know, I'm not sure. Now, a lot of states with the electoral college, they say the majority vote gets the electoral votes, which I think all states should adopt that, because we don't really have a need for an electoral system.
But it's not an equal amount of votes per the trick to the electoral college, you can lose. If you won California, Texas, New York, and Florida, you can give up 20 states. That's a fact. See, every state doesn't have equal amount of electoral votes. And so you don't have to win the whole country. All you got to win is the states with the biggest population, and a few in between. You don't have to win a great deal of states to win. You just got to win the right states.
Yeah.
And that to me, I get the popular vote. I get it, but that's not why. Do we understand why the electoral college was created? The electoral college was created to prevent the South. It helped us, because if the electoral college wasn't created, we'd probably be in a whole different situation as black people. And that's facts. I'm just being honest, because what happened is that when it first was introduced, you had a large percentage of people concentrated in certain areas. So in other areas, there was not a large population. Therefore, those votes were nullified by the several states or more that had a higher, population, whatever. So when you look at that, they're looking at it from this perspective. If you got a great deal of people living in 3 states, and then the other 47 states have a certain amount, it's not fair if we go by the popular vote, that, all these other, the places that have, it's kind of spread out, like the popular vote doesn't necessarily reflect each state itself. Each state has their own distinct values and distinct, political views. So to nullify that, we're going to allow you to get, to get your votes based on, if you got 5 million people in one state, you get 20. If you got 100 million, another one, you get 80. That's, because that represents your state, has its own distinct thing. When you just open it up to everybody, then it's like, it's not necessarily, both sides has its pros and cons. I'll just put it like that. But I actually am for the electoral college. I'm actually for it. I'm for the electoral college. Now, could it be redefined as it relates to how many electoral votes each state get? I think that may need to be redefined, maybe relooked at, may look at that a different, reassessed. Like, should California get so many votes? Should Texas get so many? That should be. But I'm actually for it, because I don't think that the people in Montana that got like 500,000 people should have the same amount. They would have more value in a popular vote. Yeah. And they shouldn't. That's just me. That's my opinion. I mean, but I just think that maybe how they distribute the votes to tally up who wins or lose, that needs to be maybe reconstructed a bit based on their population and
Yeah.
other things. That's just me. Other people different, but
Oh, yeah.
I'm not for the popular vote at all.
Really?
No, I'm not. I'm not, because you know what that means. And to me, the popular vote nullifies the black vote in the South.
Well, see, the thing is with the Electoral College and their existence is because, of course, back then, no telephones, no things like that. So campaigning was very hard to do. So, a lot of people didn't get the words of things, and things were so far spread out that, well, you could go to a place like Texas. You may not have covered a lot of ground, but if you could get that state's popular vote or what have you, or you could get those electoral votes to help you. But now that everything is so easily accessible, including the votes themselves, do we really need the Electoral College anymore? I don't know. But either way, if you get the popular vote, I don't know. I would have to see the numbers on. Can a person? Well, actually, I'm sorry, I'm about to answer my own question. Yes, you can get the popular vote and lose.
Let me give you an example. Okay, we all know, and this is us. This is what black politics should look like. And I'm speaking from this as it relates to, like you said, like when Kamala said, I'm not doing a damn thing exclusively for you. That's a problem. So when I look at politics, I first look at it from the eyes of how this benefits black people and myself as a black person. So we all know. Let's say I'm going to use let's use Georgia for a second, okay? The state of Georgia. The state of Georgia probably has about 35%, about 33% black people. And then you got maybe 50-some%, and then 20% of everything else. If we went by the popular vote, that vote would be not as meaningful, because they're just going to, as long as they have more groups that are not black that typically vote anti-black, in a presidential election, our vote would never, the only way that we would benefit is if we became a larger population. We would have to get 50 to 50+% more in order to have a effect. But under the under the Electoral College, we understand that the other 65 to 60% that are non-black, if 80% of us, which let's say 80 to 85% of black people vote Democrat, right? We understand that 85% of white people are not voting Republican. 85% of Asians and Hispanics, no other group has that high a slant towards any group outside of African American people. So our sector of votes strengthens the other groups that have a bigger population, that have the same vote as we do, or they vote the same, or they look at things from the same perspective as us. So our vote has more meaning as it supplements the tally of other groups that are involved in the total voting sample. So it gives us more power, because that's why the Democrats, at least they've taken it for granted. They understand that, and that's why they in some way try to appease the African Americans at a minimal level, because they understand that there's only so many white people that are going to vote one way or the other. And if we have if we know we have other groups that particularly this particular group, it only increases our power to be reelected, because we know that consistently 80 to 85% of African Americans, or even 90%, are going to vote in this direction. So it gives us more power. The problem with that is that politics without money, without finances, it doesn't do you any good, because the issue is that we vote them in, but they're not financially they're not financially beholden to us. They're going to go to the people that financially supported them. And it's great to vote, but to be honest with you, I would rather. It is actually more effective for us.
Okay, so we lost D Darrell. We're okay. He's back. It's more effective for us.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
It is actually more effective of us to actually give money as selective interest groups, tons of money to a certain group to get bills passed in our favor, to basically be our own lobby, than to vote. Because
Wow.
we can still vote, but the thing about, at the end of the day, you know who benefits the most is the people who gave them money.
That's what I said earlier.
Like seriously, like we vote these people in, we give them money. Like, and I'm not saying, and you don't even, and I'm not even saying you got to give them a lot of money. Let's just say, like, I'm gonna use the church. Let's say the black church gave a political party $20 million, right?
Yeah.
You think you ain't gonna sit at the table giving them 20 million? You think you're not gonna influence, and they know you gave them $20 million, and they couldn't get elected if they didn't have that $20 million? That is more effective than a vote. It's way more effective. Now, I'm not saying you don't vote, but if you don't have economics backing up the vote, you're just voting in somebody else to put somebody else's issues that paid them through money. You don't have to pay to play. You're gonna basically vote someone else in to actually prioritize those that gave him money first over those who just voted with no economics involved. That's it. That's it. And that's what has happened to us. We have to be more mature, understanding that if we want real change, you're gonna have to pay for it. You're gonna have to pay.
Wow.
And paying for it means, I mean, it ain't got to be crazy money. Like, it ain't got to be like you're giving somebody a billion or nothing like that. But you're gonna have to pay for it.
No doubt.
So,
well,
so that's the issue here. You're gonna have to pay for it, and we ain't paying for it. We just voting.
Yep.
Other people paying for it.
Exactly.
They are paying for it, and I get that.
With all the money we put into the economy.
They don't, but what the money we putting in their pocket? I get what we putting into the economy, but what are we putting in their pocket?
When you watch the replay of this, you'll see Derek made a lot of good points. Usually Derek joins the panel, but he's at work. When you play this back, you'll see he made a lot of good points. I highlighted them all when we were speaking. Definitely, which shows me one thing. There's definitely a lot of brain power in this form of BlackTube, which is where we're broadcasting from. So it's always good to have these type of discussions.
Right.
Definitely enjoyed it. I felt like I said, man, let me turn this mic on, because I did earlier in the week and it was more of a rant. But I said, let me turn this on and just give my 2 cents. And I knew I definitely was going to do it after I posted on Facebook and saw the responses I got. And
Right.
it was crazy. And that's us being all emotional,
Right.
because we want to hate one person and love somebody else that don't do a damn thing for you. They can't manipulate me with emotion. That's why even when I speak during regular topics, I don't lean one way or another. Like when I did the previous live and I was talking, remember I've told you personally, I speak about the topic, not about the people. I don't have anything against the people. I just feel like on this particular forum, if I talk about the topic, it's more general, more people that passing through can get it and understand, versus if I start putting the labels on it, people ain't gonna know who the hell I'm talking about.
Right.
So, and that, to me, there's nothing worse than an experience than I go to somebody's video and I'm listening and they're hyped up and I don't know what the hell they're talking about because I don't know the people or the situation. But it's always good, to have these particular discussions. And it was definitely a good one today. I actually learned some stuff. We got a few things out. People came through. So to me, definitely successful.
Right. I
So,
appreciate the talk, man. I do enjoy talking politics at
yeah.
times. My old channel used to be more politically based a bit on topics, but I do think that this particular debate in itself. I'm glad that they got this. I don't know if are they doing more debates, or this is the only debate they're doing.
They're asking. I believe her camp is asking for another one.
Oh wow,
Of course,
they trying to put him in the ground. That's why.
yeah.
I don't think he want another one.
No, he says, of course they want another one because anytime if there's a heavyweight champion and somebody comes up against them and they lose, they want to go again. They want another chance. So
Okay.
that's
another idiotic statement.
Of course, he flipped it. I personally don't want to see another debate if it's going to be like last night.
It will be like that.
I don't need to see it. I don't need to see him on one side with the rhetoric. I don't need to see her talking about her childhood the whole time and her memorized lines. She was using a lot of the paragraphs she used were right straight from her interview. Now, he did a town hall where he said, I'm gonna send her a MAGA hat. He quoted that, and he said, the black people are suffering. He used a couple of lines from some past things he did this week as well. I don't need to see the rebroadcast, which, like I said earlier, if people take your live and they review your live and they play it all the way through, I don't need to see it. I'd rather just go to the source. So I've already heard what both of them had to say. If we're going to have a real debate where they're going to be real moderators doing the job across the board, I would love to see that. Otherwise, I don't need to see it. I've heard enough. She went this long without getting on any interviews or answering any questions. That's a strategy, by the way. I can't look goofy if I don't say anything at all. So I appreciate her strategy she used. And then finally you do an interview and then you bring a sidekick with you who should not have been there. I mean, there's so many things here. I think we're going to be in bad shape either way, no matter who's in that office. Because one, with him, and I hate to say it, even with all his policy, having that many felonies and all those things, you kind of stink a little bit. And I don't think you're just going to funk up the office. I think you need to step. And we definitely don't need somebody in there that has no clue. So it's getting, I just can't believe there aren't any more. And Kai brought up earlier, she said, what about independent voters? Which I kind of vote down the middle with them a lot anyway. And there are people there that are scholars. There are smart people. Again, that's why I tell folks, it's just a big old game. Hell, there's people in Congress right now smarter than these two. But the thing is, each side wants to win. So they're going to put a candidate. They basically shoved two candidates down our throat that they figured would get them the prize. That was it. They didn't care about qualifications, history, past, politics, nothing. It was just, they felt like since Joe couldn't continue, we're going to shove her in there. And that just looks like she's a stand-in for him pretty much. And, or what have you. And then with him, it's like 51% of his own party doesn't like him, but it's like, yeah, but he moves the people. He has a large base and that'll keep us in power.
Win? Right.
I tell people all the time, you can go to Congress with all your progressive ideas and think you're going to run and change things. I mean, yeah, okay. AOC is talking a different tune from what it was 4 years ago. You're going to get in there and become part of the club is what's going to happen to you. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure when Obama was running, I'm pretty sure he's like, yeah, I'm going to help everybody. I'm going to make it right. I'm going to tell everybody about the aliens and all this other stuff. But as soon as you get in there, they sit you down. They tell you, look, man, this is what's going to happen. This is what you're going to say and what you're going to do. It's all about power. Nobody wants to be president because it's fun. You want to be president because you want the power. You want to be set for life, which generally you are.
Right. That's a fact.
Anything in conclusion?
I appreciate the topic. I appreciate having that discussion. It's good to be on a panel and not have to joust with people verbally.
Yes.
Just having a nice, intelligent discussion. And I look forward to more. And I may decide to, sometime, later this week or maybe next week or whatever. I won't be out of town this weekend, but sometime in the future, I may throw out a topic like this to have a serious discussion. I think that's needed. So you
Yeah.
have a great day, man. Let me get my butt back to work, and I'll talk to you later.
All righty. Peace. Well, you heard it. That was D. Darrell. He came through. We had CE. He came through. Sharing my thoughts. Hopefully you found this topic enjoyable. Never a lot of participation with these subjects. I'm pretty good with that. I understand. And again, I'm trying to be the change on the planet. So I have to put out this type of content. Can't really focus on what we don't have. So we don't need, and besides, I'll say this to any of you. If you, a lot of you have ideas and things you want to share and discuss and put forth yourself, and I know you do, just go ahead and do it. You're not going to get a big following. You're not going to have people hanging on every word, but there are people like myself and Darrell and others who will support your message. We want to have these discussions. We want to talk about it. And we don't want a whole bunch of drama and lunacy. We really want to sit down and have the conversation. And we would love to do it at your channel. So let's keep on bringing these messages forward. Let's keep this conversation going and keep it continuing. Again, we all like to have fun and tell jokes and kiki and do some of that other stuff, but there's a time and a place for everything. So with that, I'll leave you with words of peace and tranquility. Namaste.